Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chef Crystal and I welcome everyone to week one here in CE 187. Menu design. This is such a cool course. This is one of my most favorite courses. Of everything you do at Escoffier, this class will certainly set you apart from all the competition out there. As a chef who's worked for many, many years, when I see applicants that have this type of knowledge in their suitcase, they're one of the first people that I take a close look at. This type of knowledge is essential to your success in the industry. So, hey, I'm Chef Warren Weeks, and I'm lucky enough to be your instructor, and I'm also lucky enough to work with Chef Crystal in this class. Chef Crystal, you want to take a moment and introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Chef Crystal. Woo. The crowd goes wild, guys. So I am originally from Maryland, but I currently live in Atlanta, so that's fun. I've been cooking since I was 15, and I'm only 107 now, so I've done every single job in the kitchen that you can think of, from ordering to dishwashing, like everything, like every single thing. Think of it, I've done it. I really enjoy food. I really enjoy being on the front of the house, doing the management side. And I really enjoy helping people grow and better themselves in the culinary world. I've been on the pastry side for the last year, which is cool. I love it there. They're great peeps. But this is my house. This is my home. This is where I reside. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys and to help you the next couple of weeks. Get your learn on.
That's it. Awesome. And this is so cool. I recognize so many names and faces out there. It's like old homeschool. A lot of you already know me, but I'll give a quick introduction. I've spent the last 38 years in this business. About 20, 25 of those years as an executive chef, the remainder of the time as a director of food and beverage. I've worked all over the world and owned a bunch of restaurants. And I love conceptualizing, developing restaurants, and opening hotels, resorts, and restaurants. So this class, especially of all classes, I really get into. I think it's a big blast. So welcome aboard, everybody. First off, we need everybody to understand that Chef Crystal and I's #1 intention in this class is to help everyone succeed. We want to see everybody walk out of here with 100s. That is our common goal. If you need any assistance at all, please take the time to reach out and contact us. Chef Crystal's and my information is located on the right-hand side of the class page. I think Chef Crystal will get back to you if you text her right away. I generally get back to you if you text me right away. You can get a hold of us through the Moodle school system. You can email us or call us, and we are here at your service. So take advantage of the resource. We are here to help you succeed. So, ladies and gents, make sure you stay ahead in this course. We are very, very big on professionalism. You are heading into industry, and we want you to have a head start, and professionalism is a part of that. That means posting attendance on a regular basis without us having to reach out and say, hey, how you doing? And also make sure that you get those assignments in on time. That's a big measure of professionalism, which is called time management. You think it's tough now? Wait till you get into industry and you have about 75 cooks underneath you. I managed one kitchen with 175 culinary staff members. That was a lot of time management because I not only had to worry about managing my time, but I had to worry about managing their time. You need to start now developing those skills. If you want to reach out and talk to either Chef Crystal or myself about that, we'll be glad to help you. But sign of professionalism is suiting up, showing up, and submitting on time, and that's what we expect. We also understand that everybody has jobs out there. You get busy, you have family lives, and a lot of stuff going on. And if you have a challenge, just reach out and say, "Hey, chefs, I've got this issue going on. What can I do?" And we're going to help you work through it because that's what we're here for. Any questions, ladies and gents? All right, folks. During this class, Chef Crystal and I like it when you ask questions. This is kind of an interactive class where we discuss a lot of theories and principles in relation to restaurant development, conceptual development, and menu development. So we'll be asking everyone a lot of questions, and we appreciate your feedback and your participation in the class. Hit the mute button here real quick, everyone. All right, ladies and gents, let's take a look at our week 1 class page to see where we're at this week. Week 1, these lessons are extremely critical. We're going to be talking about this stuff tonight. Your concept. How do you develop a concept? How do you conceptualize what you want to do? And then the next thing we're going to discuss tonight is creating your menu, which is a very vital tool, not only to streamline your operation, but it also works as a form of marketing too. Talk a little bit about some elements of a concept. Each week, we are going to present a PowerPoint. And we'll have one up this evening. We'll follow that PowerPoint throughout the course of the class, and then that PowerPoint will be posted onto the class page for your reference if you should need it. Those of you that are joining me from CU 122 know the drill, and it's always there for you. And then thank you everybody for showing up to the live session tonight. Live session, it posts attendance for you. And those that attend the live session on a regular basis always succeed 100% of the time. And if you're not here and you don't know it, make sure you watch the live session archive because it's really going to help you through this class quite a bit. And then this week, our assignment is a menu concepts knowledge check. Can't beat that. That's a walk in the park. So we're going to give you all the information you need to take that menu concepts knowledge check this week. You can take that knowledge check as many times as you like, and only the highest score will stick. So there you have it. That is our week 1. Does anybody have any questions about week 1? I want to hear from somebody out there that has a restaurant concept in mind. Can somebody share? And in this class, we have quite a few people. If you'd like to share something, just raise your hand and I'll get to you. Chef Crystal.
Penny has her hand raised.
Chef Penny, what's going on?
Hi, missed you by the way for that last week.
I know.
I have my concept is going to be a bakery because in the area that I live in, there is no bakery.
Okay, that works.
None. All of our bread from stores.
Okay. When you say bakery as a concept, that's a very broad term. Can you narrow it down a little bit? It sounds like you plan on doing breads, but are you going to be doing cakes, pies, eclairs, serving food? And
I plan on starting out with just the basic wholesome breads. I already do a farmer's market with sourdough products and pretzels, and we have made donuts and cinnamon rolls. So, and my husband is involved with this because my arms can't hold out for all the kneading because we're a small operation,
right? Yep. Okay, it sounds to me like you are in a good route for developing your concept, and I think by the end of tonight's class, you're gonna even be able to zero that in a little bit further. So thanks for sharing that, Penny. I really appreciate that. Hey, Sabina.
I'm here. Okay, so question. I mean, I already do. I don't know if you remember. I already run the kitchen at the American Legion.
Sure.
So I kind of do have a concept, like, for example, my signature chili that I make is called Fire in the Hole. I mean, think American Legion. These are all veterans.
Right,
so I have Fire in the Hole. I have Commander nachos. I have Supreme Commander nachos.
I like it.
Chicken wings can be commando, meaning, no penalties. So, but with that, I mean, it's not like I want to like open something else right now, but is it cool to just go off of that? Because I do have a menu and a logo and stuff. So in class, if it's cool to kind of use the concept that I've already got going with the kitchen, which by the way, I call Mom's Mess Hall.
I'm down with that. I like it. I can kind of see where you're going with your concept, and I you know, that's kind of a cool idea where you've got everything kind of themed. Kind of thinking sports bar concept in the back of my head as you're talking, and I like your
to the demographic.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that because I do a couple of secret menu things. Big Bertha doesn't have anything to do with the concept, but my husband came in one day and he said, "I want something."
Right.
I said, okay. So I made 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, put 2 sirloin patties, regular cheddar, smoked cheddar, and bacon, and made a big ass hamburger out of it.
Sounds like you need a defibrillator with that one.
Yeah, he could only eat half of it because I had it on giant sourdough bread. But I mean, so I looked at it and I was like, Big Bertha, and that's just a secret menu item now.
Well, cool. Thanks, Amita, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. It sounds like you're in a route already. So thanks. Alejandro, what's up, buddy?
Hello.
Hey, Alejandro, it's good to hear from you.
Actually, I want to open a restaurant, but it'd be kind of like a difficulty because where I want to open is where I was born. It's called Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca.
Yo me gusta Puerto Escondido mucho. I used to live in Huatuco.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a really long time since I've been there, and apparently it's a pretty cool tourist location.
It is.
And my grandmother lives roughly 30 minutes from there, and she actually owns like personal land. And what I want to try and do is buy her personal land and do like a farm to table type of thing, like literally farm whatever I can over there, and then purchase any local fish that the fishermen happen to catch.
Awesome. I love your thought process. You're beginning to conceptualize. So I think that's absolutely fantastic, Alejandro. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Alejandro. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Willie, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
Good. It's nice to hear from you, Willie.
Same for you. I guess my wrote it down, but what I want to do is either a sports bar or a food truck. But I want to have, wings, sliders, and type of
right.
starch like curly fries, something like that, with homemade seasoning for the wings, homemade for the curly fries, and I want to serve drinks here or type of small cocktail.
Hey, Willie, you're breaking up quite a bit, but I did pick up on the part that you're looking at kind of doing a sports bar, and I picked up on some of the foods that you're thinking about doing, and I think you're going in the right direction. So thanks a lot for sharing that, man. I'd like to talk to you some more about it. Maybe shoot me a message after class, and I'd like to hear some more about it. So thanks. Hey, Chit Fan.
How you doing, Chef?
Good. How are you? It's great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the information regarding India. That was fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. So I don't know where I'm going to open this, but I do have a concept in mind. I wanted to open a small, like a takeaway place with a small menu, Indian food, but specifically old Delhi food, which a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
It's a whole genre of food that, it's very rich. It's like rich goat curries and rich breads and biryanis that people have not tasted in America, I can guarantee.
But you're making me hungry.
I'm so glad. So that is what I wanted to do. Like, keep it small, keep it simple, and have it ready for takeaway, because that stuff can be made and kept for like a day. You can just keep doling it out. So that was my concept.
Thanks, Chit Van. I think everybody that has spoken so far, and we have a couple more people that we're going to take before we move on, but this class is going to be of a huge benefit, helping you zero in and become successful in your concept. Denise, what's up?
My concept for what I want to do because I have a lot of pets. I'm a pet lover. And in my area, I've done the research, but it's not too many of them. I want to do baked goods for like pets and the pet owners.
Ah,
because I've heard that there's a lot of research and there's a lot of good income that comes from making pet treats and pet foods. Yeah. I want to go into the detail of not just for pet foods, like for ones with certain diets, overweight pets of certain ages that can eat certain things. I know certain dogs, like I had a dog that had allergies to certain foods.
That's awesome.
That's the concept that I'm working on right now.
Donnie's, quick question. Do you mean dog like treats that both the owners and the dogs can enjoy like together? Like they can both?
Well, not for them to eat. Well, for them to like people like, for instance, there's a lot of dog parks in my area.
Okay.
Or something for like the people that can come and get treats for themselves, but they also sell treats for their dogs as well.
Okay.
A lot of ingredients that go into both foods that, humans eat and that animals eat as well. So I was thinking about going around that route.
That sounds really awesome.
Now I'm going to buy a dog. So that's pretty cool. Thanks, Donnies, for sharing that. I appreciate it. Hey, Audra Campbell.
Hi, Chef.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. My concept is no food restaurant. My mom was a chef and she passed away, and that's always a dream of mine. So I already got like some things worked out. It's going to be called Betty Souls. And it's basically going to be like a family restaurant thing. Like, when you go eat at your mom's on Sundays and stuff like that.
I love it.
Because where I'm at down here, we don't really have that many, places like that.
Yeah. I find that when people are creating concepts around family members, like mothers and grandmothers, they're oftentimes very successful because there's a tremendous amount of passion that's involved in doing that. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take our last one here, which is Tanisha. What's up?
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
My concept, I'm interested in doing a food truck and then like catering, because now, mind you, I haven't been able to work for over a year. I had a really bad accident, but at my old job, which was a cold storage, I was a line leader, and I used to bring in meals for people on my line and the supervisors. And since I haven't been working, they're like, hey, where the subs, where the sandwich? So, and where I am in Lafayette in the Midwest, I got a lot of other signature stuff from back home, like U.S. Steel subs, which is the roast beef pastrami rye bread with the au jus sauce. And then I do a jimshu sub with the corned beef, gyro meat, Italian beef, the tzatziki sauce, and all the extras. So I kind of got Lafayette, this little town, going crazy because there's no place out here where they can get sandwiches like that.
Tanisha, you're making me hungry.
Yeah, I was thinking of food truck and doing like I already came up with a name, Nini's Hot Kitchen, or either Danny Garrel's Sandwich Subs and Wrap. I'm excited.
Job. So I think this class is really going to be for you. I think you're really going to get into it. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. That was really awesome. I think Chef Crystal and I just heard a lot of really exciting stuff. And I really get into it when people begin to conceptualize. I've done 7 different concepts in my career, including several different hotels, and it is a joy. Ladies and gents, just to add some validity to this class, you need to conceptualize and be extremely clear with your concept. The reason is there's an 80% failure rate within the first year within this industry. Tanisha was just talking about food trucks. Food trucks even have a higher food rate, but she was smart because she mentioned another revenue source, which would have been catering. So those 2 things could keep that revenue or that food truck up and going. But of the 20% of the restaurants that make it their first year, 80% of that 20% will fail in the second year. So your concept is extremely critical. And I think we're about to talk about some information that will really help you out. Your concept needs to be extremely clear, and your menu needs to be clear and concise. You remember all those narrative sheets that we've been working on in 101 and 122 and 222? You remember all the frustrations about that? Well, now it's time to put pen to paper because you've learned how to properly describe those foods. Customers need specific, clear, and concise communication when it comes to menus, and we'll get into that just a little bit more here in a few moments. Menus, ladies and gents. A couple of things about menus that are very, very important. They must be extremely reflective of your concept. And we're going to get into your concept here in just a few minutes on how to design that. But at the beginning of the class, Chef Crystal and I mentioned that your menu is also a marketing tool. A lot of people decide where to eat and where to go based on not only the appearance of the menu, but what is actually on the menu. And it's kind of interesting on how this works from a psychological standpoint. People become hungry, right? They get a stimulus, right? I want to go. And then there's a moment of truth when they discover where they want to go. And then there's a consideration when they're taking a look at that menu. Is it priced accordingly? Is it priced according to the concept, right? Is that food worth what you are charging? And is your reputation and your style of service and your location, do all those things fit together? And then they're going to experience it, right? They're going to experience using that menu. And then that becomes a shared experience, ladies and gents. That's when they decide if they're going to come back. It's not so much the customer that comes in for the first time, it's that repeat customer that keeps you going and going. Now, when it comes to developing a concept, ladies and gents, we're all chefs. I see a chef coats out, a sea of chef coats out there right now. And we have a tendency to think it's all about food. But guess what? It isn't. In French, they say it ain't, because it ain't. A good, successful restaurant concept has three basic elements, right? One is good quality food. Penny was talking about that bread. That made me hungry just listening to Penny mention the bread. And then the next is the ambiance, right? How does the restaurant feel on the inside? Alejandro was talking about the place in Puerto Escondido, right? Out by the ocean, up above the cliffs. I could feel the ambiance when he was talking. And then the third most important element in a concept is the service. The service is a critical element. You must have all three of those together in order to create a successful concept. So, as we're learning about conceptualization, you need to let go of the fact that it's all about the food, because it's not. It's all about the experience. Chef Crystal, you mentioned that you like to run the front of the house, so you enjoy working in the front of the house, correct?
I very much so do, because I'm a nicer person in the front of the house. That's the thing.
Let me ask you a question in reference to the concepts that you've worked in.
Okay.
When a bad meal is served, can the front of the house clean up the mess, so to speak? Can the service save the situation?
Definitely.
Right.
Say that I go to a run-of-the-mill restaurant, Chili's or something, and the food is Chili's or something, and but the service is amazing. I would probably go back just to be with that server again because I enjoyed that experience more than necessarily the food. You know, they had a really good drink, so I'm going back for that too. But realistically, if Kiki was such a great server, I'm gonna say, hey, can I sit in Kiki's section? And I'm gonna sit there and enjoy that experience over and over again.
Absolutely. So, in other words, in summary, if the kitchen makes a mistake, a good front of the house server, a front of the house manager can cover for that mistake. And in reverse, it also works saying that, hey, if the food is absolutely fantastic, but the service is lagging for one reason or another, then there are opportunities to save the service situation with food, either through a complimentary dessert and a amuse-bouche, or a visit from the chef will often bring the concept back together. So everything works together in unison. Alejandro, what is your question?
What you just mentioned brings, I've literally been there multiple times in the year and a half I've been in the industry.
Uh-huh.
I in my previous job, the head chef rarely went in to cook. He was trying to make sure the, as you mentioned, the concept and the vibe was as high as possible. And I've been in these service experience because there's a Steak and Shake close to my previous job where a server there was, I've literally tried to get that server every time he's been there. And after he quit, I stopped going there because he was such a cool guy.
Yeah.
And
That's,
I worked.
That's
and I worked
a valid point.
And I worked at another cafe that had a, I want to say a good chef, but he had a very weak service in there. He tried to keep a good concept, but he just wasn't able to do it.
Yep, absolutely. Great, valid information, Alejandro. I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm going to give a word of advice to everyone that's out there. In order to be a successful chef, successful culinarian, you must raise your perspective beyond the plate that's in front of you. In other words, you must be concerned about the entire concept, right? If the front of the house needs help and they have fallen behind, you should be doing everything you can to support them, and vice versa. I think it's a real teamwork that creates that successful organization. Ladies and gents, I want to share the customer experiences, the expectations. When a customer arrives at your facility, they have certain expectations. We just talked about the three things, right? The ambiance, the service, and the food. These are tangibles and intangibles. Tangibles are things you can touch, right? That would be your ambiance, right? Those would be your booths. That would be your glassware. And then the intangibles, right? The quality of service, the ambiance. How does it feel in there? And then in the very center is the product. You have to have those circles overlapping in order to create a very successful concept. It's very, very important.
Is the center part where the product is, like, if you notice, it's kind of small? But like, that's how it is in real life, guys. Like, your product, oh, your product, but how are you treating us, and how do we feel, and how is your environment of your restaurant or your cafe or your food truck? Is it dirty? Is it really clean? Is it prestige? Like, those other things add up. Nobody's gonna get to your product, the small section, the product, until they get to those other things first. So.
Right. Yeah, Sabina was mentioning some fantastic menu items, some of those commando things and everything else, and I thought that was really creative and innovative. But if the service isn't there to provide the food product, then, you know, what's the point? So everything has to work together in harmony. So you need to really, as a chef, a successful chef, you need to expand your conceptual thinking beyond just the plate. And always remember, the number one responsibility of any chef out there is to generate profit, right? We are there to generate profit. We generate profit by preparing food. So you need to always remember that. So first thing you need to do when you're developing your concept is decide what you are going to serve. Tanisha, Audrey, Denise, Willie, Chitvan, Alejandro, all these people mentioned awesome quality food, right? That is step one. You know, I heard everything from, you know, the Audra's grandmother's recipes, and then the sandwiches, and then the Indian food. Step one is the first thing you need to do. You also need to make sure that the food that you want to serve is recognizable, marketable, and understandable to the next most important thing, which is your target market, right? Target market is defined in several different ways, okay? The primary definition of target market is who are you going to serve this product to? You cannot create a concept and say, I'm going to sell to everybody, right? It just does not work that way. You need to find the area that you want to serve in, and in that area, you will discover what the demographics are, okay? Demographics are defined as income levels, right? Do they have children? Are they retirees? Are they professionals? Are they blue collar workers? Are they younger families just starting out? All of these things will help answer your question. If you are in a basic blue collar neighborhood, right, with very limited income, right, chances are the majority of that target market has not been exposed to cuisines from throughout the world. So they're going to have a more narrow perception of what good food is, right? Whereas if you are in downtown Los Angeles or in Peachtree in Atlanta by Chef Crystal's house, they're probably going to be more professionals, highly educated, well-traveled, highly disposable income, and like Chit Van's concept would probably rock down there because those people have been exposed to that product. So determining who your target market is extremely essential. Alejandro mentioned the place in Puerto Escondido. Great, but who is going to go to that restaurant and where are they going to come from and how much money are they going to have, right? That will help determine the legitimacy of your concept. Can it float, right? Once you have developed your target market, right, you're going to understand their income range, right? A younger family with 3 small children and the mother and the father work, they probably have a fairly limited income because they're young, they're just starting out, they're getting going. They're not going to have a lot of disposable income. And if that's your target market, you're not going to charge $75 an entree because it ain't going to fly, like they say in France, right? So you need to make it a little bit more simple. Does anybody have any questions about target market? Chef Crystal, you have anything to add to that?
I was just thinking if they have limited funds and they have 3 small children and they both are working, they probably have limited time as well. So you might want to think about dining in versus maybe just grab and go kind of situation.
Right, absolutely. See, that's a great solution. And you also need to take into consideration if you are to work with what we call empty nesters. Empty nesters are retirees. Their children have moved away, so the nest is empty, and that's where the name comes from. They have high levels of disposable income. They have a lot of leisure time available. They're most likely well-traveled, and they're most likely well-versed in different cuisines. That tells me you can charge a higher check average, but they're going to have higher levels of expectations with service and ambiance. So all of these things play a major role. Now, please do not get yourselves concerned by what a grand chef is and what a regular chef is, because in my opinion, there is no difference between a Grant to Katz and the guy slinging burgers, right? Because they're both making a quality product and they're both making profit. So it's not about serving the most, food lovers food in the world. It's about serving great food and making money doing it. So don't get lost in that perception that everything has to be fine dining, because that's a very, very small portion of the entire restaurant industry's revenue. Alejandro, what's your question, bud?
Just like you mentioned in Puerto Escondido, are tourist attractions normally extremely busy and revenue a lot of money, or are those somewhat kind of what's the word?
Okay.
Distinguished.
That, my friend, you need to take advantage of local resources such as Chamber of Commerce or convention visitor bureaus. There is a lot of that information. For example, here in Tucson, Arizona, we rely heavily upon tourism, right? That is a major part of our restaurant industry's revenue. But that tourism will peak out January, February, April, and then we hit our low season, May, June, and July. And then the other seasons are what we refer to as being shoulder seasons. So if you're going to go open a concept and you're going to rely upon tourism, that you need to make sure you understand when your peak times are and your low times are, because we all dream of opening a concept and having a line out the door. But it ain't gonna happen like, you know, like they say in France, so to speak. So you have to be realistic. You really have to do your research to understand your target market's behavioral traits. Does that answer your question, Alejandro?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gents. So we've decided what kind of food we're going to serve. Right? Then we decide we talked briefly about who our target market is. There's a lot of resources out there to help you determine who your target market is. If you're not sure, sometimes if you open a place in the downtown area, for example, and your target market is professionals, great income, right? They eat lunch every day. Weekends, they don't work, so you have no traffic. But you might be next to a sporting facility that does huge, you know, where a football team or a baseball or basketball team, you'll do huge business during those events, but when those events aren't taking place, then you have no revenue. So you need to be very conscientious of your entire concept. It's very, very important. Ladies and gents, now that you've decided about your concept and you've learned a little bit about your target market, you need to decide what kind of concept you're going to be. Ooh, that's a hard one. Well, what's your favorite style there, Chef Crystal?
I honestly, truly like quick restaurants, like quick service restaurants. I can sit in them and have like a bite if I want to, but I can also pick it up and go. But I also have little kids, so that might be it.
When I'm with my kids, I love drive-thrus. when it's my wife and I, we'll sit down and enjoy a nice meal. But
I also like it because I can get them something and not break the bank, getting them something and they can eat and they can enjoy it. And they have their own stuff, so they're not bothering my stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a prime example of a target market right there. It's a young family, small children, and that's primarily what they're interested in. The information that you are learning right now, if anybody is searching out investment into your facility, if you're going to be doing your food truck or your restaurant or whatever the case is, most likely you're going to require some type of outside investment into your business to get it up and running. Investors need to know the answers to all the questions that we've just been talking about. They're going to want to know what kind of food you're serving, who you're serving it to, and then they're also going to want to know what your concept is. Let's take a look at some of the different concepts here. Fast casual, that's what Chef Crystal was just talking about. Fast casual is generally for people with small children, people that are in a hurry, they want to get in and out. Very, very important. Examples of fast casual restaurants would include Chipotle, Panera, Popeye's Chicken, and that type counter service I like to think of. You walk up, or they'll also have a drive-through. Those places rely on volume to generate profit. Remember that. Family style restaurants also would work well for children. You kind of get in, you kind of get out. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. It's the kind of place where you can have a booth or a table. You can have a high chair at the table if you need to. The check average is generally going to be lower than what you would expect in a fine dining restaurant. So they traditionally will serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that is a family style restaurant. The next type of restaurant is a fine dining restaurant. Okay? Fine dining restaurants, a lot of us have aspirations, become a chef and be on the cover of Gourmet magazine because I'm working in one of them fine dining places. Guess what? It's not what it's made out to be. This industry has thousands of different positions. Chef Crystal, how many different positions can you think of off the top of your head?
So we have, starting in the front of the house, you have your hostess, you have your server, you have your GM, and then like maybe you have a couple of other your bartenders and stuff like that. Then you have the back of the house, you have your line cooks, you have your kitchen managers, you have your sous chefs, your executive chefs, your stewards, your everything, dishwashers. Oh my goodness. You have, I don't know. so many things you can do.
And the list goes on and on and on. Yeah. So there are literally thousands of different directions you can go into. Chase your passion. Chase what you're good at. I love what Audra said at the beginning of the class. She wants to cook this food that her grandmother was teaching her, and that's her passion. And I have a lot of respect for that. I think that could become a huge revenue source. It could be very, very valuable. One thing that is not mentioned in here is just the term restaurant. The term restaurant translated into English means place of rest. You should always remember that, because you will have customers say, what does a restaurant mean? It means a place of rest or restorative, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen.
There was a really good question in the chat.
Sure.
And it was, is your concept the style of food?
Yes and no. Okay. Your concept should match your style of food. For example, Tanisha at the beginning of the class said that she was thinking about doing a variety of different sandwiches and that type of stuff. That would not fit into a fine dining restaurant, right? However, it could fit into fast casual, family dining, cafe bistro. So there are a couple of different slots that it could fit into. What's really going to be the determining factor, though, is going to be what you charge for those sandwiches as to where it would go in. You are going to charge what your target market can afford to pay. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So a couple of other things here real quick. Cafe or bistro, classic French concepts. A bistro is traditionally a French country concept where the father will work in the front and the mother will work in the back. And it's very family orientated. Fast food trucks. We heard that at the beginning of the class. Think about it, right? Because fast food trucks, for what they charge, are based on volume in order to make any type of money to survive. A fast food truck can only generate so many covers at any given time. They are a very, very risky business. So make sure that you have a different revenue source associated with that food truck, other than just relying on occasional events to serve food at. There has to be some other way to generate revenue to make money with that. Buffet restaurants, absolutely fantastic, great concepts, but they can be extremely expensive with a lot of overhead because you do waste a lot of food. Penny mentioned at the beginning of the class, bakery. It's really on what the bakery is, right? Is that bakery concept just going to serve sourdough bread, whole grain bread, rustic artisan bread, or is it going to have cakes, pies, all that type of good stuff? So kind of zero it in. So those are some of the basic restaurant concepts that we take a look at. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anybody? Ladies and gents, I'm going to do this sheet is in your is going to be on your class page later on, so you can take a look at some more definite definitions of some of the things that we just talked about. The next thing, when you create your concept and you title your concept, right? That means give it a name. Names are extremely important. I opened up one place and it was called Lojo's Bistro because it was a combination of names. And it did not do very well in the end. We did sell it at a loss. However, the name was a little bit difficult for some people to remember, and the name was a little bit long. So we learned a very valuable lesson there. You want to make sure that your name really kind of zeroes in on what you're serving and is something that people can remember, and make sure it's not a long name. And we're going to take a look at a couple of long names right here. La Crêperie in French bakery, right? That's a difficult name. Can you imagine if you said, "Hey, I want to meet you at this restaurant." Just Google it, and then trying to figure that out. And then the Koji Korean barbecue taco truck, great concept. However, difficult name to remember. And then Flynn's Irish pub, not so bad. But if you take a look at some of these concepts, when you take a look at, you can really feel the concepts that these people are serving, right? How much do you think they charge at this concept for a meal? Anybody have a wild idea? Chef
I'm
Crystal?
thinking, I honestly wouldn't pay for like, if it's like a barbecue, like kind of situation, probably like $8 to $10.
Yeah, that's probably about right on the money. I would think that everything screams casual, homemade food, right from the truck. Very casual stuff. Sabina, what's up?
So the only thing I would say about the Koji truck, being in SoCal, they kind of started the whole food truck craze. I have literally waited in line to eat off the damn thing.
Yeah, I've seen those trucks, and I think
it was featured on that show Chef on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they started the whole thing with the food truck craze, with people wanting to do food trucks, and then here comes Tyler Florence with a great food truck race and stuff. I mean, honestly, there are much better Korean food trucks now. I mean, I didn't, it's the whole thing with the koji and the taco and the bulgogi and the kimchi and all of that. But it used to be, and the Grillamal truck was like that because they branched off of Baby's Badass Burgers, but now he's got a brick and mortar. But I mean, like Grillamal, I waited in line for it because they had truffle fries that were amazing. When I ate stuff.
That's kind of the whole food truck craze. They were one of the original food trucks. They did play a significant role in the development of the food truck craze. However, if you ever take a look on Craigslist to see how many food trucks are for sale, kind of tell you where that curve is at. Taking a look at our next concept. These people, this is Flynn's Irish Pub right here. When you look at it, you know what to expect. We just looked at the Koji barbecue, and you knew you were outside. You knew it was casual barbecue food. Chef Crystal nailed it on the head when she said about $8 to $10 to eat there. Sabina said there was a huge line. It's exactly what you expect. Flynn's looks like I'd be walking in there, sitting down, maybe having a couple of beers, kind of relaxing and that type. So it really, look at the selection of beers there, huh?
Chef, honestly, if I wouldn't have expected burgers. I thought it was going to be like a Reuben or like some corned beef.
Bingo, which is a wonderful segue to our next conversation. You nailed it right on the head, because when you hear Flynn's Irish Pub, and then the first thing that pops up is a bacon, onion ring, Western cheeseburger, it confuses consumers, and you want to have a clear and concise concept. It is critical in order to succeed. The next one, La Crêperie, which I think the name really, it should just be called La Crêpe or something, something easy to remember, something that you could really understand. But when I look at it, it certainly gives me a certain sense of upscale, unique, a little bit of style, probably a lot of homemade croissants and Napoleons and that kind of stuff. So I get a really good feeling when I look at this place. And then here's like a galette or a crepe filled pastry. So it looks absolutely fantastic. Does anybody have any questions so far? Comments? Concerns? Thoughts? All right, ladies and gents.
Alejandro has his hand raised. I'm sorry.
Alejandro, what's up, bud?
When you're naming a restaurant or your establishment, does that also include into the try not to confuse people with your concept?
Absolutely. You want to be clear and concise with everything that you're doing. You have to remember you are one of a million competitors. The restaurant industry is one of the most competitive things in the world. I've traveled and lived all over the world, and there's a lot of places that I want to go back to, but I just can't remember the name, right? And then you're describing what kind of place it is, and they're hoping somebody can remember. clear and concise. It really, really helps out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Christy, what's up? Christy.
Whitlow. Oh, you can't hear me. Hold on.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay. So anyway, but we have this concept of doing like elevated pub food. So it'd be casual. However, we want a section of the restaurant to be fine dining, and we're thinking about calling it by appointment only. Mm-hmm. And a small, like a kitchen area that people would sit around and watch the chef do their thing. But it would be an exclusive, you know, by appointment, but within the larger restaurant. Am I too confusing, or would that work?
You're gonna have a difficult time doing a concept within a concept. However, I really like the idea, and if I were you, what I would do is I would create a chef's tasting menu, or a chef's table, like we like to call it, and say, hey, we have this chef's table available. We do offer a tasting menu, and during the tasting menu, you get to experience the entire culinary thing, and it becomes a big thing. Plus, all of your regular customers, that is your market right there that you get to market your concept to. But when you start creating a separate concept within a concept, it can confuse customers. But if you have an enhancement to your original concept, then yes, you'll be very successful.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense? I like the idea, though. I think that's pretty cool. Ladies and gents, this next couple of minutes, we're just going to take a look at a couple of different menus and menu styles. First of all, when you are creating a menu needs to be at least 40% white space. Anything more than that becomes confusing to the eye, and you have people's eyes going all over the place. In another class, we'll get into menu psychology about where to place the dollar signs and all that other kind of good stuff. But the general layout of your menu should be extremely simplistic and simple to follow, right? An a la carte menu. An a la carte menu is when they literally sell everything separate, right? Steakhouses are very, very famous for a la carte menus. I would like a filet mignon, and then they would say, would you like a russet baked potato with that? And literally sell you everything other than water to go along with the meal. So that is the definition of an a la carte menu. The next type of menu is a table d'hôte menu. And Christy, this would be right up your alley for your concept that you were just talking about, which would be more of a price fix menu or a prefix menu, which is very similar to that of a chef's tasting menu. Chef's tasting menus, I do those every night at a different place that I'm involved with. They are extremely profitable because the portion sizes are extremely low, and your chef's menu is developed from the mise en place that you have in your house that you need to use. But they're presented in a different fashion and in a different format, and people will pay considerable money to be a part of that. So a prefix menu will generally have several different courses with several different options for each course. And then, ladies and gents, limited menus are generally what we find in fast food restaurants. Teriyaki Place, Panda Express, those kind of places are all limited menus. And then cycle menus. Cycle menus are generally available in hospitals, schools, or other types of facilities. I don't want to say prisons, but they kind of rotate their menus. And then the California style menu, ladies and gents, those are going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, more casual. I would call Chili's, like Chef Crystal mentioned earlier. That would be a California style menu. Oftentimes they'll have more than one meal period on that menu. And then the du jour menu, which is one of my most favorite. Right? A du jour menu is a casual, rustic style bistro menu that you can do on a daily basis, which allows you to incorporate whatever you think is fresh, whatever you feel like cooking that day within your concept, right? So you're not going to do a French bistro and serve those Western bacon onion ring cheeseburgers. Chef Crystal.
Oh, you're not going to have a French bistro and serve like sushi, right?
No, it's even a better idea. Alejandro, what's up?
Have you ever done course tasting menus?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Are those the hardest to create?
Course tasting menus or tasting menus would be a little bit more of a common name. I do it 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week. It's a 5 or 6 course tasting menus, and we charge right around $175 to $200 per person. We sell out every single night because it allows you to express your creativity. So from a culinarian standpoint, I absolutely love it. However, from an operational standpoint, the profitability is insane because you are able to charge that elevated price because, number one, your environment will be much enhanced. Christy was talking about that place that's right near the kitchen where they could see everything being prepared. That makes money because people will pay extra to be a part of that. And then your portion sizes are extremely small because you're serving 6 courses. So, I mean, out of one 12-ounce fillet of salmon, you can serve 6 people, and everybody will be very happy. So, does that answer your question, Alejandro?
Yes. And another one.
Mm-hmm.
Are the course tasting menus the one that usually not only have a lot of creativity, but but do they give the highest wow factor in plating?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you have to understand that the plating styles are extremely critical. It's something that people anticipate with that price range, right? So you are charging a premium for that product. People anticipate you're not going to put a pat of butter on a plate. You will put a quenelle of butter on that plate, and that's what people anticipate.
Okay. Thank you, Chef.
Okay. You're welcome.
Chef, when you just said not a pat of butter, the first thing I thought was a lamb of butter. Have you ever heard of a lamb of butter?
No,
Like, it's butter shaped in like a lamb.
Oh, yeah, it's really. How elegant. All right, ladies and gents, what an awesome first live session. Thank you so much for all of you that participated, and thank you everybody for being here. Please remember, we anticipate that you'll be posting attendance on a regular basis. Be professional, be a chef. I don't want to have to reach out to find where you're at. I'd rather work with the students that need help than spending my time chasing people that haven't posted attendance. Please make sure that you submit everything on time. I have a great feeling about this class, and Chef Crystal and myself are here to support you on every step of the way. Don't forget to get that assignment in right away. Chef Crystal, do you have anything in closing?
Make sure you ask for help if you need help. Definitely contact myself or Chef Warren, and we can get in there and help you if you need it.
Yeah. And we also heard from quite a few people that are trying to conceptualize and thinking about ideas. Shoot me a message if you have a question about what you're thinking. That's what this class is about. I'll be glad to share with you my perspective, which isn't the ultimate perspective, but they say in life, in order to get true experience, especially within the restaurant industry, it's all about exposure. So the more people you ask, the more you hear, the more you can decide what you are about in the restaurant industry. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. We look forward to hearing from everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.